Ever wonder why history's hidden secrets still affect us today? The truth has been watered down or completely ignored by public school curriculum and college-level academics. You are about to journey through history's dirty secrets and understand why this information has been hidden. We will reveal what so-called Christians did to the Black Hebrews for punishment when they were caught pretending to be Christian. It is utterly shocking. We revealed how Jesus and Christianity were whitewashed 300 years after the death of Jesus. This was orchestrated by Constantine, the white emperor of ancient Rome, who converted then legalized Christianity as the official religion of Rome under the Roman Catholic regime. In the Old Testament, chapter 28 of Deuteronomy tells God's chosen people of all the blessings they would receive by obeying Him, as well as all the curses that would happen if they chose to rebel. God warned His children that if they disobeyed, He would scatter them among all people from one end of the earth to the other, where they would serve other gods, and in those nations they would find no peace, and the sole of their foot would have no resting place. They would also be sold into slavery through ships. Now, this next verse we are about to look at is the inception of an age-long curse that is obvious in the history of African Americans. Matthew chapter 27, verse 23 through 25 says, "Why? What crime has he committed?" asked Pilate. But they shouted all the louder, "Crucify him!" When Pilate saw that he was getting nowhere, but instead an uproar was starting, he took water and washed his hand in front of the crowd. "I am innocent of this man's blood," he said. "It is your responsibility." All the people answered, "His blood is on us and our children." That singular proclamation, "His blood be on us and our children," is the curse that is still affecting God's chosen people from the Old Testament. This moment in time activated the curses of Deuteronomy 28 because they willingly put Jesus, a man without sin, to death and were so bold to take responsibility. Before Jesus came to Israel in the year 63 BC, the siege of Jerusalem conquered current-day Palestine. Many war captives were sold as slaves. They or their children eventually became free but continued life in Rome. By the time of the Jewish War in 70 AD, it is estimated there were 50,000 Jews living in the city of Rome. The Catholic leadership wanted the emperor to deal harshly with the Hebrews and make their influence disappear. So over time, they continually migrated as a means to escape the oppression from the Deuteronomy curse. Which then takes us to Spain. While in Spain, for centuries the Jews flourished, grew in number, and became very influential. However, the curse of Deuteronomy 28 to scatter his people has never left. Their rejection in Spain began in the year 616 AD, when King Sisebut of Spain issued a decree that ordered the baptism of all the Hebrews in his land. The penalty for them was that if they refused, they would lose their properties and be banished. Due to this, 90,000 Jews had no choice but to convert. But it didn't end there, it continued. In the year 710 AD, during the reign of King Roderick, the law was still effective. The punishment even increased because it was decreed that any Jew who refused baptism would lose their children to the authorities, and those children would be raised in the Christian way. This forces many to be baptized, but when one is forced to do something, there is no sincerity or faithfulness. Such was the case of the Hebrews. By their mouths, they professed they were Christians, but at heart, they remained steadfast to the old law of the Torah. This went on for many years, until the year 1391, when the Hebrews were as many as Christians in Spain. Being part of the Roman Catholic Church, the Hebrews were seen as outsiders and competitors. Outsiders because they did not become part of their religion, and competitors because they prospered and were wealthy. Due to this, they gained status and paid taxes, enriching the kings of Spain in return for protection. The kings of Spain trusted the Hebrews even more than their own people, so they placed them in administrative positions. However, this favoritism further fueled the hatred the Christian citizens of Spain had for the Hebrews. So, the Christians began to rebel against the Hebrews, wanting them to be real Christians and not the outsiders they were seen as. When the violence became so great, the Hebrews accepted being baptized to save their lives, but they never believed in Christianity. At heart, they practiced Judaism such that even after getting married in the Christian way, they would still secretly get married in their way. They even still observed their Sabbath day of rest. Over time, this became evident to the Christians, and they realized that they did not believe in Christianity. Marranos, became the names of all Christians who still practiced Judaism. It meant swine, and they named them this to show their displeasure that they did not accept the Christian religion truly, but just to escape death. This matter soon escalated, and the Hebrews began suffering a worse fate than they had imagined. The Spanish Inquisition is an office in the Catholic Church whose task was to find and punish Christians who still practiced Judaism. On November 1, 1478, the Inquisition was approved in Spain. Through this, any Marranos found was either put in a torture chamber or burned in the public square, for all Christians to witness as punishment for their disobedience. What an irony! Even at death, they were forced to recognize the Roman Church as the source of true religion. It didn't stop at that. Later, through a decree, they ordered that all Jews who refused baptism to leave Spain by August 1, 1492. They were uprooted from what they thought was their home to wander around the world, just as Deuteronomy 28:55 said that they would not be at peace in the nations where they were scattered, and the soles of their feet would also find no rest. After leaving Spain, they were scattered even more. Some went to Africa through Morocco, and most ran to Portugal. King Manuel of Portugal welcomed them for only 8 months. They were required to pay high taxes with the promise that the king would give them ships to go wherever they wanted. When the time came to leave, the king didn't provide enough ships. Almost 100,000 Hebrews were left, and they sold into slavery. They were transported to the island of São Tomé, off the west coast of Africa. This was the beginning of the transatlantic slave trade initiated by Portugal. They were transported as slaves across the world, and even to the New World, America. The curse followed, and their persecution never stopped. As slaves, it was no longer a force of conversion, but a complete wiping away of their identity, until they no longer knew who they were or where they came from. Which fulfilled the prophecy of Deuteronomy 28:68. The Lord will send you back in ships to Egypt on a journey I said you should never make again. There you will offer yourselves for sale to your enemies, as male and female slaves, but no one will buy you. The last part means God will not buy them back or redeem them through the old covenant. The devil is cunning and is bringing out new ways to keep the unsaved Black African Americans under the curse. But now that we know the truth of who the real descendants of Abraham, Satan has limited power over to keep African Americans oppressed. Let us spread this gospel and liberate God's people from generational curses. We are in the end times, and we need to fulfill God's purpose more than ever. Let's align our lives and purpose with God and bring down the strongholds of the devil through our unwavering faith in God. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Like this video, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more enlightening content. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay blessed.